Hey BookTube, welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg, and yeah, I'm here today with a very brief video. I'm filming on a Friday afternoon. I work half days on Fridays, so I'm catching up on correspondence now, video time, book reading and book reviewing. I've got some writing. I've got lots of different fun projects going on in that arena. But I thought, hey, you know what? I need to make another video because I am really committing to putting up more content weekly for everybody. And this one is just going to be one of my shorter videos. Yay for you guys, right? I told you recently I kind of broke down and bought myself a few books from Book Outlet. And this is very few. I mean, we're talking 1, 2, 3... 5 books. I got 5 books here, but they had some titles that were really at a stellar price, and wanted to add to my library, and I will get to them as I'm able, but I wanted to get them. You know how it is. But yeah, we'll be looking at real quick on a Friday afternoon. I'm not sure. I might post this on today or I might post it tomorrow. But either way, it is a gray, very cold day here in the Denver metro and environs area. I'm about 30 minutes outside of Denver, but it is gray, it is bleak, it is cold. And we're supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow tonight, so we shall see. We really do need snow. It's just been way too dry here. So it's a good day for writing, reading, and bookish content, as it were. So let's get to it. Book Outlet. They have changed their what do you call it? Their structure lately. Now it used to be they would have sales all the time, but now it's like we're 50% off all the time. But then they'll do some of these brief little sales where it's an additional 15% off or what have you. Or buy 4 and get the 5th free or something like that. So I forget which one this was. I think it was just like an extra 15 or might have been 20% off. Already marked down prices. So I got 2 fiction and 3 nonfiction. Let's change it up. Let's start with fiction. Don't run away. History people, because these, especially this first one I'm going to show you, might hold some interest for you. This is written by a Nobel Prize winner, Herta Müller, and it's called The Land of Green Plums. Okay. The Land of Green Plums. And it's all blurbs on the back, but I've got something in the inside here I can read to you. Set in Romania, at the height of Ceausescu's reign of terror, The Land of Green Plums is the story of a group of young people who leave the impoverished provinces for the city in search of better prospects and camaraderie. Their hopes are quickly dashed. The city, no less than the countryside, bears the mark of the dictator's corrosive touch. All of the narrator's friends come to betray one another and themselves. The totalitarian state, we see, has come to inhabit every human realm. Everyone, even the strongest, must either bend to the oppressors or resist them and perish. Herta Müller, herself a survivor of Ceausescu's police state, speaks from intimate experience, scene by scene, in simple images of hieroglyphic power, such as men stuffing their mouths with unripe plums, girls sleeping with abattoir workers for bags of offal, a docile proletariat making things no one wants, tin sheep and wooden watermelons. Müller anatomizes a country, its citizens, and the corruption that has rotted the core of both. Now, astute viewers of this channel and of my reading lists know that this would appeal to me. You're like, why on earth would this appeal to you? Because I'm fascinated. Morbid fascination with totalitarianism, communism, things that are, or these man-made creations that just destroy the human spirit and the soul. in uh, some fanciful idea of creating a utopia on Earth, and instead they create hell on Earth. Yeah, that's the realm of my studies. A lot of times is just being aware of how these things act and how insidious they can become in society, and just smelling it out. Smelling the rot before it ripens, and or there's unripened in the case of the green plums. But that's, and so my fiction kind of wants to, the fiction I really tend to gravitate to looks at that and looks at the just the fallout it has for humanity and the human soul. Fun times. Again, I'll say, who wants pie? So it was a nice paperback. I don't even have a remainder mark from Book Outlet. It's just brand new book. I think I got it for like $5. $5. So Herta Mueller's The Land of Green Plums. Now the next book. Raspberry Seltzer, people. It's good stuff. I've read this author. I've read a couple of his books. One of my favorites is The Terror. So yeah, I'm talking about Dan Simmons. So this is a horror novel. It's supposed to be one of his best. Now, I'm surprised I have never gotten to it before. It's a big beast of a book. About 760 odd pages. But and this one's a little beat up, but for the price, it does have a remainder mark, but I don't care. But I was like, I loved The Terror, and I read another short book, a horror book he wrote. I can't remember the name of it now. It was about a writer, and it was set in the winter time somewhere. I don't know. It was like a winter's horror or something. I forget. This is Carrying Comfort by Dan Simmons. So it was dead cheap on Book Outlet, so I picked it up, and that cover is kind of freaky. So who doesn't love a nice scary read in the dead of winter with the snow falling? So the Carrying Comfort, let me read this to you. The overall description calls it the monumental epic of horror, dark fantasy, and intrigue. Oh, and this copy has a new introduction by Dan Simmons, so be intrigued to read that as well. The introduction was written, let's see, when did this... It's a fairly long introduction, too, so let's see here. Oh, well, the new introduction is from 2009, so... But, I mean, he wrote this book back in 1989. So that was, okay, so it was 10 years later. So Carrying Comfort, let's see what this is about. So it veers between the past and the present. And it says here, the past. Caught behind the lines of Hitler's final solution, Saul Lasky is one of the multitudes destined to die in the notorious Chelmno extermination camp. Until he rises to meet his fate and finds himself face to face with an evil far older and far greater than the Nazis themselves. The present. Compelled by the encounter to survive at all costs. So begins a journey that for Saul will span decades and cross continents, plunging into the darkest corners of 20th century history to reveal a secret society of beings who throughout the ages may exist behind the world's most horrible and violent events. Killing from a distance, and by darkly manipulative proxy, they are people with the psychic ability to use humans, read their minds, subjugate them to their wills, experience through their senses, feed off their emotions, force them to acts of unspeakable aggression. Each year, 3 of the most powerful of this hidden order, hi Daisy, meet to discuss their triumphs of induced bloodshed and deliberate destruction. But at this reunion, something will go terribly wrong. Saul's quest is about to reach its elusive object, drawing hunter and hunted alike into a struggle that will plumb the depths of mankind's attraction to violence and determine the future of the world itself. Yes, and we can call Dan Simmons a native here. He's a Colorado guy. He lives here in Colorado, so Carrying Comfort by Dan Simmons. It's about time I read it. Daisy's tucking in for a mid-afternoon nap. It's 2 o'clock here, and they all want to get warm. After this, I need to eat some food because I am hungry. And they will dutifully follow me and be the little beggars they are. All right, so now we're moving on to nonfiction. Again, it'll be a short video. This is a hardcover I scored for not too much. This is from Farrar, Straus and Giroux, and this book came out 2022. And I had seen it when it first came out, and I wanted to read it. But I'm glad I waited because now it's already on the bargain bins. But this is Degrade and Destroy, the inside story of the war against the Islamic State from Barack Obama to Donald Trump, by Michael R. Gordon. It's a pretty thick read. In the summer of 2014, President Barack Obama faced an unwelcome surprise. Insurgents from the Islamic State had seized the Iraqi city of Mosul and proclaimed a new caliphate, which they were ruling with an iron fist and using to launch terrorist attacks abroad. After considerable deliberation, President Obama sent American troops back to Iraq. The new mission was to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIS, primarily by advising Iraqi and Syrian partners who would do the bulk of the fighting, and by supporting them with air power and artillery. More than 4 years later, the caliphate had been dismantled, the cities of Mosul and Raqqa lay in ruins, and several thousand U.S. troops remained to prevent ISIS from making a comeback. The by, with, and through strategy was hailed as a template for future campaigns. But how was the war actually fought? What were the key decisions, successes, and failures? And what was learned? In Degrade and Destroy, best-selling author and Wall Street Journal national security correspondent Michael R. Gordon reveals the strategy debates, diplomatic gambits, and military operations that shaped the struggle against the Islamic State. Degrade and Destroy takes us inside National Security Council meetings at which Obama and his top aides grapple with early setbacks and discuss whether the war can be won. It also offers the most detailed account to date of how President Donald Trump waged war, delegating greater authority to the Pentagon but jeopardizing the outcome with a rush for the exit. Drawing on his reporting in Iraq and Syria, Gordon documents the closed-door deliberations of U.S. generals with their Iraqi and Syrian counterparts and describes some of the toughest urban battles since World War II. As Americans debate the future of using force abroad, Gordon's book offers vital insights into how our wars today are fought against militant foes and the enduring lessons we can draw from them. So yeah, this was timely, and I wanted to read it because obviously there's so much going on in the world right now in 2024. I wanted additional insight into how we're fighting these type of unconventional wars. So, and to see how the last two presidents, not including Biden, but the last two presidents before him approached it. So, Degrade and Destroy, the inside story of the war against the Islamic State from Barack Obama to Donald Trump. And then I was really happy to find these two books, also by Farrar, Straus and Giroux, the publisher. Two works by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And I've read one of them a long time ago, and I don't think I have a copy anymore. So I was like, let me pick this up. And they had another paperback of a work of his that I've never read, and I would like to. So let's start with one we all recognize. I picked up this, One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, a novel. Introduction by Catherine Schunk, and winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. Translated by H.T. Willits. And this is the authorized English translation. This is the small, FSG, Farrar, Straus and Giroux edition. So, One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich is a towering classic of contemporary literature. Oh, so this is fiction. Sorry. What does it say this nonfiction for? I'm sorry. I got these confused. Okay. So I have 4 works of fiction and 1 nonfiction in this haul. First published in the Soviet journal Novy Mir in 1962, it is the story of the labor camp inmate Ivan Denisovich Shukov as he struggles to maintain his dignity in the face of communist oppression. An unforgettable portrait of the world of Stalin's forced work camps, one day in the life of Ivan Denisovich, is one of the most extraordinary literary documents to have emerged from the Soviet Union, and it confirms Alexander Solzhenitsyn's place in a league with Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, and Chekhov. This unexpurgated translation by H.T. Willits is the only translation authorized by Solzhenitsyn himself and fully captures the power and beauty of the original Russian. It's fantastic. All right, and this book is about 180 pages, but it's due for a reread. All right, so another book by Solzhenitsyn, and this one I've never read. This is a big book. It's over 500 pages, and this is Cancer Ward, a novel. Translated by Nicholas Bethel and David Berg. Let's see here. Clifton Fadiman put a blurb on the back here. He says it's the most moving of Solzhenitsyn's novels. We shall see. It says here, one of the great allegorical masterpieces of world literature, Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Cancer Ward is both a deeply compassionate study of people facing terminal illness and a brilliant dissection of the cancerous Soviet police state. The novel, which has been compared to the masterpiece of another Nobel Prize winner, The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann, examines the relationships among a group of people in the cancer ward of a provincial Soviet hospital in 1955, 2 years after Stalin's death. While the experiences of the central character, Oleg Kostogladov, closely reflect the author's own, Solzhenitsyn became a patient in a cancer ward in the mid-1950s on his release from a labor camp and later recovered. The patients as a group represent a remarkable cross-section of Russian characters and attitudes, both under nominal circumstances and then re-examined at the 11th hour of illness. A seminal work from one of the most powerful voices in 20th century literature, Cancer Ward. Said that a little too cheery. Cancer Ward offers an extraordinary portrait of life in the Soviet Union. Sorry, I don't mean to be flippant. So it's a nice volume here, as you can see. It's very nice. Yeah, so I got these from Book Outlet. I've got kind of 3 on a theme here, right, with communist, totalitarianism and repression. And so I got those 3 works. Straight up horror, dark horror fantasy. And then something also terrifying, the Islamic State and our war against ISIS. So those are some of my recent pickups from Book Outlets. I should say that I have slowed down some of my book buying, but then I had a little spurt because I had a little spurt of book buying. So you're going to be seeing the fruits of that coming in more videos. This was just the first. I have a video planned to show you books I picked up over the last few months that were just me buying onesies, twosies here and there. But then I have a very large Hamilton book haul coming. They had a bunch of Franklin Library editions that just went into their inventory. And if you're aware of the Franklin Library, they are first editions. Most of them are signed, and they are like leather bound, or maybe it's pleather. No, it's not pleather. But I mean, you know what I mean. It's one of those special bound type of books, and that they just went into their inventory and selling them from anywhere from $6.95 up to, I think the most expensive one I saw was like $11.95. And I was like, wow. So I wanted to see what they looked like, and I bought a few of them. So that's coming in a Hamilton book haul very soon, along with some other items. I know the Princeton University Press sale is going on right now. My friend John David, another booktuber, has posted on his channel or told about it, and he's put it into the Discord conversations for Historathon 2024. I found maybe 3 titles, but I have to say I have really cleaned out most of what I want from Princeton's backlog. So I'm just kind of waiting for new books to be published that I want to take a look at. University of Chicago Press had a sale recently, and I bought a few titles. I've got the box right over here, off camera, right next to the Sleeping Daisy. Who doesn't love Sleeping Daisy? God, she's so cute with those little ears that go back. Eee. What are we going to do with our animals? They're just too cute. So I've got University of Chicago Press, a few titles I picked up. I still have some fiction to show you that I picked up as well. Or did I already do that one? I think I did. I think we're all caught up with that. I have some more used books that I picked up. Gosh, I'm kind of defeating my whole stance about not having bought a lot of books recently. But that, you know what? Peg works hard for the money. She works hard for that money. So you better treat her right with these books. Yeah. So anyway, guys, I won't take up any more of your time, but I wanted to show you this little sweet stack. That's what I'm going to call my thumbnail. Sweet stack. 5 books from Book Outlet. I think they have a sale going on right now. All fiction is $5.99 or less. But there's nothing else, nothing really jumping out at me. I really just wanted some of these. So I think we're good for right now. All right, guys. Well, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Stay warm, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Come on back. Come on back to the History Shelf, because you know we've got more stuff coming. Take care. Bye.